All right. On today's episode, we're going to continue the trend of talking about where do I even start when you're starting to think about paid media services. And Amanda's insights are going to blow your mind so you don't think you need to spend everywhere at every place at all times. So with that, we're going to dive into where do I start with paid media?
Welcome to Trade Secrets, where we demystify digital marketing to help contractors get the most bang for their marketing bucks.
This is for you if you're a contractor looking for actionable marketing insights.
Learn from home services industry experts to elevate your business through simplified marketing strategies.
Let's dive into today's trade secret. Okay, so this is a topic that I get really excited about, and some of you that are listening right now might be rolling your eyes like, I tried it, it didn't work, stop. I've tried this, I've tried that, it doesn't work. Just like any marketing medium, there can be a lot of reasons why maybe a previous test failed. It doesn't mean that the platform in general just doesn't work, but in some cases, it might mean it's not a good fit for you. So I'm certainly not here to tell you to just keep spending money where maybe you've ruled things out, but we're here to tell you that there's a lot of variables to consider if you're trying to decide, okay, I've got some budget for 2026, where should I put it?
Yeah, and this is such a loaded question because there is, we're niche down to home services contractors, trades businesses, custom builders. And there is Angie's List, Nextdoor, Meta, which is Facebook and Instagram. Then you've got your Yelp ads, GLSA, display, YouTube ads, Google ads, TikTok ads. I mean, there's so many channels, but I think the most common, so we'll talk today probably about the most common ones because every time I listen to you talk, I learn so much more because paid is not my lane. But let's, I guess, key in on maybe the most common ones and the pros and cons and what's changed recently as to why if you tried, Google local service ads or Google guaranteed, some people call them LSA, what's changed there? What's changed in Meta? How do you know when you should keep trying if you feel like you've tried and it hasn't worked? So because that's broad, let me tee you up for first and foremost Google local service ads. We've heard so many people say I tried it and failed. Let's dive into that as the first one.
Okay. So for those of you who are listening, that are like, I don't even know what a Google local service ad is. Local service ads are kind of the golden child of Google ads right now. They, in most search results, as we all know, when you search something, the search results can look a little different from query to query. But typically on a service-based term, LSA ads are those top ads that pop up at the very top of the search results, and you can either message or call the company. It doesn't let you click through to a website, but it really forces in an immediate action. And those ads are really amazing for a lot of different verticals, but not all of them. They're really transactional. The way on our previous podcast, we were talking about an SEO for maybe a plumber or HVAC, local SEO, and that 3-pack is like the money spot. Like people are typically pretty transactional, looking for good reviews, and they're going to take action. Those are really the companies that LSA just kills it for. It's almost like you're skipping the GBP 3-pack line and you're getting just right above it. So a lot of people quickly take action on it. It looks a lot like a GBP listing. It shows how many reviews you have on GBP right there. So it's a really great spot for you if you have a pretty transactional business. In some cases, we're currently testing it for we are running it for some exterior contractors that have bigger budget items like siding replacements, and it's working well there. We're testing it for kitchens for a remodeler. So it's not just for like the short transactions, but that's a lot of companies that's where it really works for. But if you've tried it before and it didn't work for you, I'm telling you, there's a lot. Things have changed in it, but also a lot of times people who tell us it didn't work, they weren't babysitting it. It's like Google Ads with training wheels. There's not that much you can do on the back end, but the things you can do are critical. You need to listen to every phone call that's in there. You need to dispute them if they're not good. If it is good, you need to be getting in there, putting in the name and contact information of every person you talk to. Google wants to know that you are servicing these people because they're backing you and saying, like, if you made it into this, if you made it past our guarantee, we give this company our guarantee that you can trust them. So Google is monitoring that very closely, and they can give it, then they can take it away. So if you were running that before and you were ignoring it, you weren't getting in the back end, you weren't managing the profile, you really cannot say it didn't work for you. You can say we weren't good stewards of the leads, and we should probably revisit this. Does that make sense?
It does, it does. And the other thing, if you say, "Oh, it doesn't work," don't miss a call from LSA. If it was working and then you missed a call,
You probably went from your phone ringing 5 or 6 times a day from LSA to it stopping working. And unfortunately, all you can do is keep fighting the good fight when that happens. And when a call does come in, don't miss another one. Make sure you're getting in there and updating all of the leads when they do come in, showing Google that you really mean business when it comes to that account. You will start to see the phone ring again, and getting consistent reviews, which helps across everything we ever talk about. You just need to be getting consistent reviews across all of your profiles online, but especially Google. So also, if you just had it on, you're like, my phone never rang. How often were you getting reviews during the time period you ran that test? Because I guarantee if you compare yourself to the other people that were dominating those ad placements in your market, they were getting consistent reviews. They weren't missing the phone. So if it's really important to, sometimes it's not fun, but to look inward. Like, you need to go listen to some of those calls. Was your admin being kind of rude? Were they not acting excited about the business, and people weren't closing? You weren't booking them into estimates or into service calls? Maybe it's a you problem. So before you just write off the entire platform that the vast majority of people who run ads on that platform say work for their business, it's an uncomfortable truth, but it might mean there could be a few tweaks you could make internally. They could turn that from maybe one of your less effective ad mediums to one of your best.
yeah, you can't just set your budget at $1 million a day and then say it didn't work. There's some nurturing that has to go on in order to before you write the platform off. I've seen in a lot of forums, they're like, "I set my budget to $1 million a day and the phone wouldn't ring," but you never entered any lead data. You didn't upload all the photos you possibly could. You missed a couple calls, and your admin was an asshole. Like,
It's
eh,
you problem. Yeah.
maybe a problem. Okay, love it. So, all right, we covered that one. Next, we've been critical of this in the past, but the more online visibility is very geared toward trusting entities versus, like, keywords. They trust brands, they trust solid brands over keywords. Social media plays a critical role in how much a brand is trusted. How frequently you post, did you claim your profiles? And also, all of us were on social. So there's engagement there, and engagement is a signal also for organic visibility. So when we're talking paid media, talk to me. Let's talk about the big one out there where I think there's the most noise, which is Meta, which is Facebook and Instagram. Facebook and Instagram ads. Amanda, what is the 2026 environment that we're looking at? And let's start with how it's changed from 5 years ago versus where it's at now, and then talk to us about ads inside of that platform.
Yes. Okay. So if you listen to some of our earlier podcasts, Devin and I both kind of talked a lot of shit on Meta ads. We were like, it's not
In terms
really.
of lead gen, branding, we always said was smart. Lead gen, like, beat
We
it.
were always like, if you're trying to figure out how to stretch your marketing dollars the furthest and you've only got $2,000 to spend, we were like, don't spend it in Meta, which I could still argue is the case. Depending on your vertical, I'd probably tell you to start out in LSA. But there, to your point, Devin, it's about building trust. There can be a huge halo effect, even if people aren't taking action on your social ads, but you are consistently publishing really strong content on your social profiles, and you are boosting those posts, or you're making really intentional ads that are going out to your target market to your target audience in your target market. It Maybe they're not going to act directly on those ads, but you're probably going to see a lift in your brand searches. You're probably going to see a lift in your engagement on your GBP. So there's a lot of opportunity there, and there's been a lot of change since 5 years ago, when you used to have to go in there and build your audience and say, I think my audience is a soccer mom in this suburb who loves yoga and lattes. That's gone. And I'm grateful for it. With the release of Andromeda, there's so much AI behind it now that they are
What's Andromeda?
it's oh, sorry, it's their latest update to the ad platform, which is AI backed and it's based on user behavior. So used to you'd go in there and be like, I would never just turn on the AI in the back end of Meta and say, I trust you. But we're finding more and more that there's a use case for it. Testing it small and then growing if it's working for you. But if your ad creative that you're running in Meta is hyper targeted on your target buyer, you're even addressing them in the text that comes underneath the ad, you're letting Meta know who you want this to get in front of, and it's engaging, they are going to show it, and they're not going to charge you a lot of money for those impressions because they want us to doom scroll. They want us in there. So if you're helping add to the stickiness of their platform, they are going to celebrate your content and they're going to show it to the people you want it in front of. So you're going to not only be driving conversions inside of Meta as a result, but it's going to help your entire online visibility. So there's definitely an argument for it in every vertical that we speak to on this podcast. Whether you're transactional, you're a plumber, you're HVAC, maybe you're more educational on there, but you're letting people know like, damn, these guys are the guys in my market that I trust, that clearly back the work that they do and they know what they're talking about and they're not just here to sell me something. Or maybe you're a GC that has incredibly beautiful work and people need to visualize what it is you guys are doing for other homeowners in their market. So then they're going to start, as they're starting their journey, you're one of the brands they're going to go consider. So there is a huge argument for using Meta as part of your paid media mix, but also keeping in mind that it doesn't all need to be like book an estimate, book an estimate, book an estimate. You really have to like use it as lead nurturing and don't just assume it's not the same as someone who's going to Google and typing in, custom builder near me. It's somebody who has shown interest. AI knows that they've shown interest, but now they're out looking at images of their high school best friends' little kids at their birthday party, and you happen to disrupt their scrolling with some beautiful footage of a project you just completed. So the long answer there is that there's a huge opportunity for it, but it just takes testing and really, really smart messaging.
And I think too, tempering your expectations and grounding yourself in the objective of the campaign. Is it brand awareness? It's so cheap and you're getting eyeballs on it. Is it lead gen? That expectation would be different. Your creative obviously would be different. But if you've tried it in the past and you did it just for leads, there's obviously it's smarter. So it could be a better lead gen channel. But you can't say it doesn't work after a week. You need to give it time to get data on, collect data and analyze the data. And you have to also give yourself space to sift through some shitty leads and bot junk. Like you just have to, because it's so cheap inside of that platform compared to like a Google, pay-per-click campaign, that you have to have the patience for it and just know, all right, this is only going to cost me $500, but I'm going to get X, Y, and Z, and I might get a little bit annoyed. Okay. And there's also, so there's the lead gen play, there's the brand play, there's the, hey, my SEO person told me I need to get traffic through to my website I need to build some trust because no one's coming to my website right now. It's a really cheap way to get legitimate clicks through to the site too. So I guess that's with any ad campaign. Keep in mind the objective of the campaign. What's the point of it? Are you lead gen, branding? Do you just want eyeballs on the profile? Are you trying to build an audience so that you can then take that audience and do something else with it in marketing? Keep that in mind, I would say too, right? Because that's...
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and every single piece of creative, you should be thinking about it like that. Like, yeah, some of it you're going to be underscoring your trust. You're going to be just teaching people something. You're going to be giving something for free. You're a good steward as a member of your industry. And in some cases, you're going to be saying like, we're running this great promotion, book, but also offering those different messages. So it's just the way we've always known in marketing, that it's like a 1-2 punch. Like you don't want to hit them up every time with trying to sell them. You're trying to add some value to just get a seat at the table, to be one of the industry leaders that they're going to look to when they're finally ready to make a buying decision. So yeah, you just have to just think about it like that. And also think about it if you're running some creative and you're like, I think, we're getting a pretty good amount of engagement on it instead of, but maybe it's run its course. You can keep adding more creative to that existing campaign and let the AI decide which one people are responding to. You don't just have to completely turn it off and go completely start over again. It's getting smarter with time. So keep feeding the beast, give it more to work with. And another thing you can do too to help it, it will optimize towards your conversions. So if you're going in there and just setting it up that like anyone who completes my lead form is a conversion, and it's going to just do what it can to just get you more and more of those conversions. But if you do something smarter where you connect it with your CRM, which some people this might already be going over their head, but I promise you, if someone helps you manage your CRM, they can help you do this. You can feed information back into Meta that you say, I want more people that actually book a consult, and that's this lead stage. So you can set it up so it will feed that information back into Meta, and then it will optimize for that ideal conversion. It doesn't just have to optimize for a million spammy leads that suck. You can be way more intentional with it and actually get more out of the ad dollars you're putting there. Last thought before we move on to another interface, I do also want to say that we've worked with a contractor in another market who has an incredible social media manager doing all of their organic, but quite honestly, her content wasn't getting the eyeballs it needed because they weren't spending anything in Meta ads. So we've started boosting some of her posts, and even just by doing some of our more direct lead gen ad campaigns, suddenly it's whether they want to admit it or not, it's kind of a pay to play platform. Suddenly she's getting more organic reach on a lot of those posts she's doing as well because we're participating in the ad exchange with Meta. So it's another thing to think about too. Are you paying who's sitting in your office a lot of money to keep your profiles active, but every time you look, you're like, how did only 10 people see that profile or that post? This is another way to kind of double down on that investment and get more eyeballs on that content.
Yeah, smart. Smart. If you're already like doing the activity, the marketing activity, may as well kind of juice it a bit more with a couple bucks. I love that. All right, so that's awesome. That's really, really good info. So Meta ads have changed. They're using AI to be smarter. So that's the takeaway there. So if you wrote it off a few years ago, we don't blame you. So did we. But just know what the goal of the ad campaign is. Give it time to run, and yeah, check it out. Okay. So the point of this podcast, we said, where do I even start with paid media? We've touched on like a couple key ones. There's obviously there's display, which is those ads that chase you around the internet after you search something. There's YouTube ads, and then there's PPC. I guess like I don't know if we talk about each of those channels or if we go back, if someone's listening, they're like, well, wait, hold on, which one? Where do I start? I guess maybe we should have done this at the beginning, but I got excited and probably derailed us. But where, as an expert, would you begin to assess if someone came to you and said, I want to do paid media, but I literally don't know where to start? I guess step one, like, where would you start to look so that you could advise them on like the best channel that they should start with?
So I would talk to them about what they have tested in the past. It's still valid to just know if they have an existing Google Ads campaign. I'm going to go dig around and kind of try to learn what they've done in the past. Figure out we don't want to like pay the dumb tax if they've already paid it, but I'm going to just talk to them about who their ideal buyer is, and what the entire process looks like. Because if it's really transactional and it's, HVAC, something like that, I'm probably going to send them to LSA before I'm going to send them to Google Ads. But if it's somebody who's trying to sell luxury kitchens, I'm probably going to start with Google Ads and say we can test some LSA and compare the two leads. But I actually think you're probably going to find more people that want to resurface their cabinets on LSA. And I think someone who spent the time to go to your landing page and look at your gallery is probably more interested in a design contract and is probably going to be more willing to pay the fees that you're looking for. Because we work with a lot of GCs. They're like, I don't want to talk to anyone unless it's a 6-figure remodel. So that's when they tell me that, I'm going to tell them, I'm not going to rule LSA out, but I'm going to do an A/B test while I'm running both of them. And I'm not going to be surprised if Google Ads is where it's at. I'm also going to say, maybe we could earmark $500 or $1,000 of your budget to support what we're doing in Meta, so that people are seeing you in Meta, and then when they go take action and they're looking in the search results, it's all working together. So it really depends on the buyer's journey and where they are right now and how visual their service is.
So what you're saying is you're not an order taker and you're going to actually learn about the business before you recommend what kind of paid media platform would be best for them. So no one could walk in here and be like, "Hey, would you run my social?" You'd be like, "Let's talk about why you think you need social."
100%. And we have spent millions of dollars of other people's money to learn this stuff, and it makes me excited and happy to be able to just hit the ground running with somebody because we can put all this in place. But the last thing we ever want someone to just come in here and be like, I don't want to talk about any of your other paid media. I want social ads. Be like, I might not be a good fit for you. I might be, but let's talk about why you think you need that. So, but I will say as well, while we're just on the topic of like how things have changed, Google Ads is another one that has changed. If you say it doesn't work, blah, blah, blah. It's still, you still might be able to rule it out for your market or your industry, but a lot has changed there too. Their AI has gotten way better as well. Their automated bidding, and you can go in now and say, I want to maximize the number of conversions I'm getting from my ad campaign. And you can do the same thing I mentioned that you can do in Meta, where you can say, this is the conversion I want. I want someone who has booked an estimate with me, not someone who's just completed a lead form. And you can optimize towards that. So it's changed as well. So I would just tell you, if you said it didn't work before, don't just assume it doesn't. But there's one of the biggest mistakes I see people still making all over the country that I cannot even fathom is just driving to a homepage with like an expensive service-based keyword. So if you ran ads previously and you didn't have landing pages, which for those of you that are like, what the heck is that? A landing page is a page on your website that is standalone. People can't click through and go to your blog and get lost and then probably leave. If you're paying $40 a click to get them to that landing page, we have a clear call to action and we're trying to get them to take an action on that landing page. That's a really quick way to increase the number of contacts you're getting from your Google Ads campaign by 2 to 3x by just using landing pages. So if previously you're a roofer, please God, I hate when I see this because those terms are so expensive, who was just paying $70 for a roofer near me and sending it to your homepage, and you're like, I just lit a bunch of money on fire. Why didn't that work? That was your first mistake, just not using landing pages. So there's just a lot of best practices that exist in the space that can make these platforms work better. So just because you tried it before doesn't mean you should rule it out. But also, if an agency is coming to you and saying, let me try it again, you can say, look at what I did before and tell me how you're going to approach it differently, because how it was approached previously didn't work for me. And if they can't give you clear answers as to how they're going to do it differently, maybe continue to wait for the day that you're going to revisit that platform.
Yeah, because even in our process, you you won't just say, "Okay, yeah, sure. Let's what do you want the ad to be on?" and we'll get running with it. You're like, month one, we have to audit whatever you've done. I need to look at why it didn't work, look at the historical data, and then execute the improvements, make the recommendations, then execute on them, and then you can start to like run the campaign. So it's not. I think what's critical here, and the big message is, you don't want to work with an order taker for your paid media management. You really don't, because you're going to light money on fire and be pissed off and say that this platform didn't work and that one didn't work after trying it. If it's not done with, an expert's lens, taking a look and analyzing any historical data. And then if you've never done it before and you're just looking where to start, there are so many best practices that like need to be in place for it to be successful. Because and we won't do it. We won't just like inherit some crappy landing page or non-landing page and just take orders and listen to you when you say, well, I want it to go to this page, ready, go. Like that's not, you don't want somebody that does that. We work with like so many people, and Amanda has, as she said, has spent like millions of dollars of other people's money learning from ad campaigns all over the country, the US, Canada, in Australia, and has learned so much from all of the trades and from GCs. Why would you not listen to the expert before you spend your cold hard cash on ads? So anyways, it's a whole rabbit hole. And all is to say, Amanda's the best. Our paid media team is freaking brilliant, and that you want to hire somebody that cares about your business, cares about the history, cares about the objective of the campaign, and can execute it like better. Oh God, we sample this all the time in our tactics. I mean, Our PPC team, our paid team, they execute better than any other agency's paid team I've ever freaking seen. And we're in a big ass mastery group. So I can tell you that top notch, go with someone who cares. That's what I'd like to say. I don't know if that is a good spot to end this podcast, but it sure seems like it.
I feel like there should just be a bomb and we just disappear.
Yeah. And then you're just like standing, can you look like upward, and we have like fireworks going on behind you and you're on a pillar made of gold.
Well, let us know if we missed a platform you'd like us to dive in on, or what your experiences are like. Why have you ruled one out, or why have you decided one is a huge winner? But thanks for listening, guys. That was today's trade secret. Thanks for listening.
Did you find this helpful? We're just getting started.
Subscribe and don't miss our next reveal.
Until next time.